This is TWiT.
Just this morning, Google had its Pixel event. And because it was just this morning, we kind of had to roll right into things. And so I am going to be talking to you about what Google announced at its Pixel event. Although many of you will be kind of familiar, given the fact that Google has this history of sort of talking about things ahead of time and preparing people for things ahead of time before they are fully and officially ready and announced. In any case, I hope that you were able to tune into our live coverage this morning, which featured Leo Laporte and I believe also Ron from All About Android as they discussed the event live. But if you didn't get there, well, I've got the rundown for you. First and foremost, Google has given some more information about its Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro phones. They are actually going to be available next week as we record this show. So Thursday, October 13th is whenever those will hit stores and be available. So you can actually start pre-ordering those now. The Pixel 7 starts at $599 and the Pixel 7 Pro starts at $899. As far as what's changed in them, you have an OLED display that is actually, interestingly, smaller than the OLED display of the last Pixel. The Pixel 6 had a 6.4-inch OLED display. The new Pixel 7 has a 6.3-inch OLED display. I still have that 90 hertz refresh rate, which I know is important to especially folks on Android, it seems. They're really all about that faster scroll speed. So you can count on that. And a nice IP68 water resistance with the glass front and back made with Corning's special Gorilla Glass, the most recent version being called Victus, which is, of course, more resilient to drops and scratches. And then the camera area, I think they call it the camera bar, is made with aluminum as well as the enclosure around the outside. The display is a little bit brighter, so Google says you can expect 25% brighter performance in outdoors areas. And I think one of the big announcements for both of these devices is Google's new Tensor G2. Again, we've got custom silicon from Google this time to help make the Pixel faster, of course, but I think a big thing is that it's more efficient. So you get better battery life by way of the Google Tensor G2. And as you can imagine, the improvements to the camera. Google is very much about its camera. Now, the other thing that I found kind of interesting is that Google is suggesting you could get up to 3 days of battery life with the Pixel 7, thanks to that Tensor chip and a new mode called Extreme Battery Saver Mode. So if you've ever kind of worried about taking your phone out for the day and doing all these different things that you have to do, especially with like an always-on display, this now all-day battery life becomes 3-day battery life, which is just ridiculous. And then I love this because this next feature I think is important because so many times I think we forget that our smartphones are phones in the first place. And so to know that our smartphone is going to help us make and take better calls is kind of nice for the people who use their smartphones for that phone purpose. It has some better filtering options for making sure that your voice can be heard and you can hear the other people that are there as well. And then, as I mentioned, that always on display with the at a glance feature that, of course, is more on the Android side than it is just on that Pixel side. You've got the dual rear camera system on the Pixel 7. And of course, if you're shooting video, then you've got 4K. And now they've got the cinematic blur feature so that you can shoot video that will kind of keep the background bokeh'd while the foreground is in focus. And with a a better camera on the front as well. It makes those selfies that you're taking all the better because it has a 92.8 degree ultra wide field of view. So you could take photos with that front facing camera and capture everybody in the shot. Of course, it's got improved zoom. And now, of course, Google says that the zoom is, quote, similar to a dedicated 2x optical zoom and can go up to 8x. You'll have to see for sure because there is a difference between optical zoom versus versus digital zoom, non-actual digital zoom. So that's the Pixel 7. Again, you can pre-order starting today, starts at $599. The Pixel 7 Pro, you can pre-order starting today, and the prices start at $899. Of course, then with this phone, you're going to get an even better display. This has 120 hertz. It goes up to 120 hertz, drops all the way down to 10, so that if you have that always on display going, it's not taking up too much battery life on your device. And a 6.7 inch display on that, as well as the triple rear camera system. Interestingly, both the 7 and the 7 Pro have aluminum as their enclosures. So Apple has in the past kind of on their end of things differentiated between the standard model and the Pro model by using different materials for the enclosure. But here you've got aluminum for the front and the back. You've got the same IP68 resistance and again that Gorilla Glass, same 25% brighter performance inside and outside. But here we're rocking 3 cameras on the back of the phone, a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens, a 50 megapixel wide lens, and a 48 megapixel telephoto lens. Very impressive how much zooming you can do. This is a 5x telephoto lens, and with the super res zoom, then you can go up to 30x on that zoom if you would like, while maintaining that 48 megapixels. So very impressive what Google has done here with the cameras that are built in. And of course, you can expect those same features like the cinematic. The other thing that I'll mention is that the Pixel Watch, which you've heard a lot about for quite a while, is finally here. You can actually pre-order starting today. Prices start at $350. And it is the kind of first true iteration of Google and Fitbit coming together. Of course, Google purchased Fitbit, and we kind of wondered what Google was going to do after making that purchase. And the Google Pixel Watch, which comes in one size, I find that interesting as well. Lots of different bands that they're going to offer, and of course, third-party bands that you can purchase. But the fact that it is just a one-size solution with one option providing cellular connection, other one just being Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. But in either case, it is a nice circular display. And I have to say, that circular display is slick. I do quite like that. It makes it harder to kind of give a true measurement of what the display is, but the best way to put it is that Google says it's a 41 millimeter diameter for that display. It comes in champagne gold with a hazel band. You can also get it in matte black and polished silver with different bands. 80% recycled stainless steel as opposed to the aluminum on the Pixel devices. And as I said, depending on which one you get, you've got cellular connectivity at the high end or Wi-Fi and Bluetooth at the lower end. It has that Gorilla Glass that you've come to expect in many of the most premium devices. And of course runs Google's Wear OS 3.5. So if you've been looking for a watch to pair perfectly with a Google Pixel phone, then I think this Google Pixel Watch might be the one that you've been looking for. as Google kind of points out on its main screen, help by Google, health by Fitbit. You get 6 months of Fitbit Premium when you purchase the phone or when you purchase the watch, and 3 months of YouTube Music Premium. So there are some kind of included deals that you get with it. But the fact that, you can do all of your tracking that you may be used to if you've used Fitbits in the past, and it's all right there. And then also the features that you come to expect on Android with Google Maps, being able to use Google Wallet right there from your watch, and of course, talk to the Google Assistant. All of that's very nice, and especially, again, when you pair it with the step tracking, and you can even, track your sleep overnight. It has, as I am used to with my Apple Watch, both fall detection and emergency SOS. So if, you fall and you need help, then you can call and use that feature to do so, as well as the ability to track heart rate. So again, folks who've used an Apple Watch are probably very familiar with these features for a wearable. And frankly, it's kind of table stakes at this point. So it's good that this device, this Pixel Watch, has these basic features that kind of need to be there to really make it a competitor, I think, amongst the other devices. Now, the bands range in price from $50, $49.99, all the way up to $80 or $79.99, and come in all sorts of materials, including that sort of rubberized material at the low end, all the way up to a leather band at the top end at $80. And I think that Google said there are, 20 different bands. So those, I think, 4 materials and several colors of each of those bands is available. The Bluetooth and Wi-Fi version is $349.99, so $350. And the one that includes cellular is $399.99, so $400. But yeah, I am curious to hear. I think we'll have at least one person, probably a couple of people, or maybe even a few people here at TWiT who will get the Google Pixel Watch. I'd love to hear their experience with it, just to see how it compares. And I got to tell you, this year, Google is really going all in on green. There's so many green Pixel phones and some beautiful green bands for the Pixel Watch. So I've certainly been eyeballing them going, this is pretty cool. And again, I love that circular design of the Pixel Watch. So that is some of what Google announced this morning. Of course, there are always little tidbits as well, including a little bit more information about the tablet that Google is working on, but that is not yet ready. So that is not something that we'll talk much about today. Again, you should check out our coverage of the event this morning, which will be out on the feeds later today if it's not already.
Hey, I'm Rod Pyle, Editor-in-Chief of Ad Astra Magazine, and each week I join with my co-host to bring you This Week in Space, the latest and greatest news from the final frontier. We talk to NASA chiefs, space scientists, engineers, educators, and artists, and sometimes we just shoot the breeze over what's hot and what's not in space, books, and TV. And we do it all for you, our fellow true believers. So whether you're an armchair adventurer or waiting for your turn to grab a slot in Elon's Mars rocket, join us on This Week in Space and be part of the greatest adventure of all time.